Hey guys, Greaves here. All right, let's continue with light and its behavior when it goes from one medium to another. So I'm just going to sketch this one out, right? So what did we do last time? We looked at what happens, right? I'm just sketching here, right? Surface, right? We looked at what happens when light goes from, and I'm going to say, let's just say this is fast, all right? And this is slow. Now remember, what do I mean by fast and slow? It's a relative term, okay? That really is determined by my reference table and my index of refractions, okay? So if I look at corn oil and diamond, right? Look, both of them are slower than a vacuum. Both of them are slower than air for that matter too, right? But corn oil, it's faster than diamond. So if I was going into corn oil and I went into diamond, what would happen? Well, we would change speeds, we would slow down, and we would refract, what we call bending, right? So let's just make it up. Let's just suppose that this is corn oil. So I have an index of refraction of 1.47, and this is my diamond, 2.42. And let's just say that I come in at some theta, 1, right? What's going to happen? Well, I'm going to slow down, and I'm going to bend, exaggerating there. There's theta 2. Right, and I call that bending towards the normal. In this particular case, theta 1 is bigger than theta 2. Okay, and how do I find all this information, or how do I find the refracted angle? N1 sine theta 1 is equal to N2 sine theta 2. Okay, so this is, right, a typical case from fast to slow. When we go from fast to slow, we say that we bend, right? So fast to slow. It's an expression. We say it bends towards the normal. Okay? Why is it bending towards the normal? Because theta 2 is going to be smaller than theta 1. Okay? All right. So that's a typical case. But are there other cases? Well, sure. What happens if I go from slow to fast? You know what? I don't know. Since I have these, since I have them, let's do it like this. Okay, so let's do water to air. Let's just do water to air. All right. So let me make a surface. There's my surface. Let me make a point on the surface, and I'm going to have to draw a normal, right? So let's make my normal. Here it is, right? There's my normal, which is perpendicular to the surface. And let's suppose that we are in water and we're going to go to air. And I'm not even going to, honestly, I'm not going to measure this. I don't know what it is. I'm just going to draw this ray of light. There it is right there. Okay? So we are going to start in water and we're going to go to air. All right, so what happens here? All right, let's see what's going to happen. We are going to bend. Right, well, let's take how do we think we're going to bend in this particular case? Well, we know I have a change in speed. How do I know I have a change in speed? Right, from the reference table. N1, right, is going to be water. N2 is going to be air. Okay, so can we figure out my angle of refraction? I think we can. How am I going to do that? N1 sine theta 1 is equal to N2 sine theta 2. All right, so what is N1? 1.33 sine theta. All right, I'm going to have to measure that, right? Because I just randomly kind of drew that. I didn't do anything crazy. I just drew it, right? It looks like I had about, let's call it, you know what? I'm going to extend this just so I can get a better, right, reading there, right? I didn't make that line as long as I should have. Let's say 19 degrees, right? So we're coming in at 19 degrees, all right? What's going to happen? I think we're going to bend. Why do I think I'm going to bend? Because I have a change in speed, right? It's not that I think it, I actually know it, all right? So that's going to be sine theta 2. So let's see if we can figure out what sine theta 2 is, or I should say just theta 2. So 1.33 times sine of 19, right, equals, so this is 0.43, so that's 1, right? I'm going to leave that, it's dividing, that's sine theta 2. So I'm going to have to get the arc sine, right? So second, sine, second, answer, enter. 26 degrees. So we're going to write, yep, 26 degrees. So 26 degrees. So watch what happens when, right, I exit, right, the water into the air, right, we're going to bend, right? Remember, it's always measured from the normal. So let's take a look here, right? So I'm going to put this bad boy here, right? Zero out my protractor, right? And I'm going to measure out 26 degrees up into the notes over here, but that's okay. And I'm going to draw my ray of light. And there is my theta 2 of 26 degrees, right? So look what happened right here, right? Well, what did happen? Well, I went from water to air, and it looks like I'm bending which way now, by the way, right? This particular case, we're bending away from the normal. Why is that, by the way? Why is it away from the normal? Okay, so let's compare a couple of things. Up here, I went from fast to slow. This one here, an expression. I'm starting in a slow, right? And I'm going to what? Fast. So when I go from slow to fast, my theta, right, my angle of refraction got bigger, right? So in this particular case, right, I went from slow to fast. What happens here? It bends, we bend which way? Away from the normal. Okay? So now, look at what happened. As always, when I change speeds, right, I refract. Okay? When I change speeds, I refract. However, I can refract now in two different ways, right? I can bend what we said with last time towards the normal, fast to slow, just reference table stuff, right? Or I can bend away from the normal, right? Slow to fast, right? So if I go slow to fast, right, that means theta 1 is going to be what? Less than theta 2. We sweep out an angle bigger than it was before. Is that okay? So these are the two ways that we can refract, right? I can refract towards or away. And what tells me what it's an indication whether this is how it happens. If I go from, it's a speed of the mediums, right? The relative speeds of the two mediums tell me which way I'm going to bend, okay? Tomorrow, I'm not sure just yet, I'll either give you some practice problems tomorrow, or there's an interesting, by the way, something weird happens here, okay? In this particular case, I definitely want to show you this. Your life, our life, would not be as comfortable as it is right now without a very phenomenon that happens in this particular case, right? So we'll either talk about that tomorrow, or maybe I'll just give you some examples on Test Wizard, right? And we'll see how it happens, okay? So see you later, guys.